Hey everybody, today is November 3rd, 2022. I'm Gene, and welcome to our first Thursday edition of Hanging with Uncle. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about today before elections. I know many people have voted already, me included, but I wanted to talk about some things that I keep hearing that sound like they make sense, but really make none. And I'll start with the first one, and that's crime. I hear people on the right always talking about how Democrats are soft on crime and vote for Republicans if you want to, fight crime. I even heard one ad talking about Mark Kelly here in Arizona being soft on crime and how crime is up, since he's been elected. And let me just start by saying that's total bullshit right from the beginning, okay? First of all, you have to go back to your civics and learn how government works and what authority people have, okay? First of all, crime is legislated on a state by state level. So if your state is experiencing high crime and you want somebody to blame, blame your state electors. They're the ones who write the laws. And not only do they write the laws, they also have to write the punishment that goes with whatever crimes that they want to designate as being a violation of our society, okay? And then your governor has to sign that into law. So if you have a complaint about how criminals are always being let out on a revolving door, well, you have to look at your judges in your state and what decisions are those judges making. Judges have to make decisions based on what the law says. So that's why you can't give somebody life imprisonment for jaywalking. Now, it may sound a little extreme, but that's why, okay? The Sixth Amendment guarantees everybody the right to bail. So if you don't like the fact that criminals are out on the street, well, then, you have to change the law in your state, all right? That's not the president's fault. That's not anybody in Congress's fault. That's not anybody in the United States Senate's fault. That is a product of your state's laws. And secondly, judges are appointed by your governor. So like here in Arizona, 100% of our judges are Republican appointees. So for the last 16 years, because we've had Doug Ducey for 8 years, and prior to that we had Jan Brewer, every single judge has been appointed by a Republican. So how are you going to blame a Democrat for judges that are appointed by Republicans? All right, just ask yourself those questions. And again, this is why civics is so important in schools and why it needs to be taught. So stupid comments that come out of the right on these campaign ads, you can say are full of shit and see right through them. I blame people for being so small-minded and pulling so hard for their political team to win instead of paying attention to the facts and the authority that these judges operate under because of the laws that are written. So again, here in Arizona, our Speaker of the House is Republican Rusty Bowers. Now, he won't be for too much longer because he got primaried because he told the truth at a January 6th hearing, saying that when Rudy Giuliani called him, Giuliani told him, no, we don't have any facts. We just have theories. We just want you to help us overturn the election. And Rusty wouldn't do that. And as a result of that, the sore losers, the people who want white supremacy rule, voted him out to put somebody in that will follow the will of these people like the Proud Boys and the Three Percenters and the Oath Keepers and other white supremacists that just want white people to rule instead of the will of the people to rule. So look at that and understand why things are the way they are. Again, I don't blame Mark Kelly. I don't blame Kyrsten Sinema. I don't blame Joe Biden for the crimes that are happening in Arizona. That responsibility falls, again, on our state legislatures and our judges. As a police officer myself, I can tell you how frustrating it is to arrest somebody for a felony, even a violent felony, and see them out on the streets because they've made bail, or a defense attorney found a good loophole, made an argument in front of a judge that a judge had to consider to release them. That is not a political issue. It's an issue of the laws that are written in your states. And if you want those laws to change, then you have to elect different leaders, ones that are not going to scapegoat the problems by pointing the finger at somebody else when the problem lies with the person in the mirror. A good example of that is, again, I remember we talked about Governor Greg Abbott of Texas blaming Joe Biden for people dying in a container. Well, I'm sorry, but that you're the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, not Joe Biden. You run the Department of Public Safety and the law enforcement officers there, not Joe Biden. Joe Biden did not hire any of the law enforcement officers in Texas. That was all done on your watch. But you want to point the finger at somebody else and say Democrats are soft on crime because of your ineptitude. That doesn't fly around here. And if you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in our comment section, okay? Because this is very important, and I think it needs to be discussed. Secondly, I hear talk about how, the economy is so bad and it's inflation and Republicans are better with the economy. That's not true either. I remember when Reagan was in office for 8 years, and then George H.W. Bush followed him for 4 more, and we were in a recession. Unemployment was over 10.6%. And then Bill Clinton was elected. Unemployment fell. And we had a surplus in the budget the last 6 of the 8 years Clinton was in office. Then George Bush came in, erased that surplus, created another deficit, adding trillions of dollars to our national debt. And then Barack Obama was elected president. And in the last 3 years of his presidency, we had a surplus in the budget. Unemployment was at 4% when it was at like 9.5% under Bush. So, and then I look at the Tangerine Terror when he was in office, adding over $2 trillion to the national debt. And now Joe Biden in 2 years has trimmed $1.4 trillion off of our national deficit. Not the debt, the deficit. They're two different things. So don't try and say you're saying one thing, Gene, when I'm saying another. Look up the difference between the debt and the deficit, okay? Also, the economy is relevant to different people in different ways. If you ask a poor person, somebody at the poverty line, what the economy is like, they're going to tell you it's crappy because they have no money to basically put food on the table or keep the lights on in their house. It's all relative. And if you ask a wealthy person how the economy is doing, they're going to talk to you about the stock market. Well, the market's doing great or the markets are doing bad. And that's what they base the economy off of. There are very few people in the middle class because, again, right-wing policies have killed the middle class, giving all the tax breaks to the 1%, leaving the rest of us to hold the bag. For example, gas prices right now are the talk of the town. And oh my God, gas is so crazy. And they want to blame Joe Biden for gas prices being so high. Well, Joe Biden does not own any oil companies. So he doesn't set the price for that. He doesn't own any gas stations, but Shell does, and Chevron and Exxon, and they make billions of for-profit dollars every quarter. And remember, a quarter is 3 months long. And recently I was watching C-SPAN because, again, I don't watch any one particular news source outlet to get my information. I go right to the source. And during a congressional hearing in the House of Representatives, I'm not going to mention any names. You can look for yourself. But a House of Representatives member from California had an expert testifying before the committee who said that the reason our price gouging has gone up, why gas prices have gone up, is because we are paying for their profits. It's all about their profits. And that happens when there is no competition. So I like capitalism. Capitalism is supposed to breed competition, but we don't have capitalism when it comes to the gas pump because there are so few providers of gas. It's a monopoly. And they can set the prices wherever they want, and they'll raise them all the way up to the limit right before a recession, all in the name of corporate profits. And then ask yourself, well, why doesn't Congress do anything about that? Well, some people are. I look at Democrats who choose not to take corporate money, who choose not to allow lobbyists into their office unless they come in with a solution or a plan to fix the problem. But when I look at the right, like Kevin McCarthy, they don't have a plan. They just want to point a finger. I haven't heard one solution from a Republican, either in the Senate or the House, to fix gas prices. They just want to point the finger at Joe Biden. That's it. Because they cannot stand up to corporate America because corporate America gives them millions of dollars to fund their campaign, and they're not going to go against that. So that's why nothing gets done in Congress, because of greed, lobbyists. And I promise you, whenever you have an industry that is raking in money hand over fist, there's a lobbyist in Congress walking the halls of the House and the Senate, making sure that those profits are protected by giving kickbacks to these politicians to run these campaigns. And that is why we can't have anything. So if you want something done, that's where to look. Because remember, the president doesn't set prices. He can't even make laws. He's the executive branch. If you want to legislate the laws to stop corporate gouging of us for the sake of profits, that starts in the legislative branch. The House and the Senate must come together to take care of that. Now, the House of Representatives did that. They put a bill together to stop corporate gouging, but when it went to the Senate, guess what? Money grabbers who would rather have money coming into their pockets instead of protecting the consumer, people like you and me, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are the reason that bill died in the Senate. So along with every 50 Republicans in the Senate that voted no because they want to protect their campaign war machine. So again, that is what's going on because that's the way civics works. That's who's in control, who has the power, and that's why things are not getting done. If you have any, again, thoughts, questions, please leave them in the comments section below. I voted, again, blue up and down the ballot. Personally, in 2 years, I can't wait to vote for Kyrsten Sinema's primary opponent and get her out of office. Boy, that was hard to not say anything nasty.